I'd like to welcome everybody this morning. We are talking about MultiStore and accounts receivable. I'd like to thank everybody for coming to Keystroke Live every week. A lot of these topics do get posted on our YouTube channel. It is the same time, same day, every week. And the first Wednesday of the month is with Michael Gebb, which will be next week. Now, when you have MultiStore and you're going to do accounts receivable, when you're first setting it up, you need to decide whether each individual store is going to do their own accounts receivable, or you're going to consolidate all the transactions into a master or consolidated database so you can do accounts receivable for all the stores. You can't do it both ways. You've got to choose one or the other. So what we're going to talk about is focusing on having consolidated accounts receivable. And that allows a single statement for each customer, regardless where they shop. You know, they can go to the East store, the West store, the South store, anything like that. And all that information comes over to the consolidated database when you do your polling. Always a good idea before you're going to run your statements. You want to run an aging report in the consolidated database. And I always recommend running it for all customers rather than just balance due. Just to be sure you're getting everybody. You don't have to keep it. You can run it to the screen, but it's a great way to kind of look over, you know, what's going on. It gives you a quick glimpse of, you know, who might be way behind on their payments or whatever. Now remember, when you run an aging report or an aging detailed report, it's going to make the amount due on the customer record match what the amount due is in accounts receivable. So anytime you see that issue, and this is regardless whether you're using MultiStore or not, if what's in accounts receivable doesn't match what's on the customer record or when you look in a customer list, most of the time running an aging report for that customer will make it match. So when you're going to do consolidated accounts receivable, if someone comes in to do an ROA payment at the store, all the clerk is going to do is do a credit memo. They're not going to apply it to anything. In fact, you really want to restrict anyone going into accounts receivable module in every store except for the consolidated. There's no reason to go into accounts receivable in the other stores because they're not going to have all the information for any charges at any and all stores. So that's really important. There's a switch that was added in version 7 that's very helpful when you're doing MultiStore and accounts receivable. It's no AR equals 1. That works on the target line or in an INI file. And basically what that does, you've restricted access to accounts receivable, but another issue you can have if you do not use this switch and someone runs a receivables aging report in an individual store, that can change the oldest open invoice date. It can change the amount due on the customer record. You don't want that to happen. So for example, you know, store 2 runs an aging report. They're not using this switch and did it for a customer who just came in and purchased something, put it on account. And this is the first time they've been to that store. Well, when you run a receivables aging report for that customer, it's going to set the oldest open invoice date to yesterday if they purchase it today, for example. Well, when you do polling, that can override the oldest open invoice date in the consolidated. So you go to run a receivables report in consolidated, all you're going to see is that one invoice from that customer from that store. Any previous invoices aren't going to show up. So you want to use this no AR equals 1 for your store, individual store data, to prevent that from happening. A couple of things. Advanced POS does allow for emailing statements. It has a real easy way to set that up. And there is a way to do your billing period monthly instead of just having it be 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. You know, some months are 31. So those are both advanced POS features. So I'm going to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like. I am in my master database. I have my title up here, and Barney's Liquor Store has purchased items from multiple locations. So you can see that there's various invoices. Let's see. You can't see your screen. You can't? Okay, let me make sure it's... There we go. How's that? You should be able to see it now. There you go. Okay. The 3 bottom invoices here were done at each of the 3 locations, the master, as well as store 1 and store 2. And you can run a statement here for this customer. We're going to do it for this month since it's the last day of the month. And we're going to calculate finance charges. And I want to just print a statement. I'm not going to try to email a statement right now. And let's make my due date out in the future. Bring up my Barney's Liquor Store. And you can see all of their items, what they've purchased, that sort of thing. Now, in contrast, and I'm going to show this to you just so you get a pretty good idea. I'm going to open up my other store here and bring up Barney's Liquor Store. Somebody goes into accounts receivable at the store level, they're only going to see things that were purchased at that store. So for that reason, you want to totally restrict access to accounts receivable at everything but your consolidated location. That's going to be very important. And then because, and let's show, I'm going to show you here, our status report here, notice I have added no AR equals 1. So even if I accidentally run a receivables report here, it's not going to change the oldest open invoice date at the consolidated or anything. You're only going to see transactions that were done at this store, though. So at least if somebody runs this report, it's not going to mess up your consolidated and mess up your accounts receivable. So let's review here real quick. we focused on consolidated accounts receivable instead of individual stores. Now, and it does allow a single statement. At the individual stores, they just take credit memos. And then you probably need to put in place, depending on the volume of your receivables, once a day, once a week, you can run a credit memo report in your consolidated database to know which payments you need to apply before you run your next statement. Because you always want to apply those payments. You just don't want to leave them out there hanging. Remember always to restrict access to the accounts receivable module at the individual store level. You can set that security level to a -99 so no one can get into it. Also, at those individual stores, use the no AR equals 1 switch either on the target line or even easier in ws.ini, which is effective for all instances of Keystroke, so that if someone does run an aging report, it's not going to mess up receivables in the consolidated. Oh, I did want to show you one thing here. I talked about billing period. So let's bring up my my master database. In our parameters, you can have billing period number of days. This is standard in Keystroke POS. But in advanced POS, you can do it monthly, so it will age your receivables on a full month basis rather than for 30, the current 30 days, the previous 30 days. It'll be the current month, the previous month, that sort of thing. And I did mention about you can email forms much more easily for customers in accounts receivable. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Well, I thank everybody for coming. MultiStore is a powerful tool, and having consolidated accounts receivable is really can really be beneficial for a big company. Remember, same time, same place next week, and you will be seeing Michael Gebb, our president, because it's the first Wednesday of the month. Everybody have a good day. Bye-bye.